The morning air was already bustling with the sounds of the city coming to life, the sizzle of breakfast in street vendors' stalls, the clatter of heels on the pavement, and the distant hum of traffic echoing like a constant heartbeat in the background. Yet all of this felt like static noise to Mia Roberts as she made her way through the crowded city streets. The weight of her laptop bag was a constant reminder of the blank pages waiting for her at home. Mia ducked into a coffee shop, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mixing with the soft chatter of patrons, but today even the strong scent couldn't jolt her senses. She found her usual corner, a small table by the window overlooking the expanse of people in a hurry to get somewhere, anywhere. She envied their purpose. Her fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup, her mind as empty as the page displayed on her screen. She sighed, a habitual groan escaping her lips. Writer's block, the dreaded affliction of every aspiring novelist. It had become her unwanted companion, shadowing her every attempt to spill ink on paper. As she sat there, a stream of thoughts flooded her mind. What if I never finish this book? What if I'm just not cut out for this career? The crowd outside moved like an indifferent river, unbothered by her internal turmoil. Mia's phone buzzed with a message. It was a friend, urging her to get out and maybe try something new. Little did her friend know that Mia's life had become a predictable routine, a monotony from which she found no escape, despite her efforts. Each day spilled into the next with the same demands, the same unsatisfactory outcomes. She drained the last of her coffee and packed up, her movements automatic, propelled only by the habit of getting through another day. As she left the cafe, her gaze fell on a poster for a creative writing workshop, pinned to the corkboard by the door. The words "Find your inspiration" screamed back at her in bright colors. She lingered there for a moment, wondering if she had the nerve to sign up. But that moment passed, she walked away, blending back into the rush of people outside, still trapped in her own world of doubt and blank pages. The sun had set hours ago, but the city was still alive with neon lights and the distant sounds of nightlife. Mia found herself wandering into her favorite bookstore, a haven she often retreated to when the outside world felt too overwhelming. The shop was a labyrinth of imagination, walls lined with tales from every corner of the globe, each aisle a portal into different realms. She grazed her fingers along the spines of the books, feeling comforted by their solid, unwavering presence. It was here she felt most at peace, surrounded by stories, even though she struggled to write her own. As she meandered through the aisles, a gleam of gold caught her eye. There it was, the Enchanted Rewrite, tucked into the classics section, a book she hadn't noticed before. Intrigued, she pulled it out, the cover shimmering under the soft overhead lights. The title intrigued her, an invitation she couldn't refuse. As she opened the cover, a rush of wind enveloped her, making her hair dance around her face. The world around her blurred, and she felt as if she were falling, spiraling into the kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. When her vision cleared, she stood in a world starkly different from the one she just left. The bookstore was gone. She was now standing amidst a lush, verdant forest, where the leaves shimmered with an ethereal glow and the skies above were a tapestry of colors she'd never seen before. Vibrant birds flitted from tree to tree, their songs harmonizing with the gentle whispers of the wind. Mia's heart raced with a mix of exhilaration and disbelief. Am I dreaming? She thought, scanning her surroundings. The air was thick with possibilities, offering a different kind of inspiration than the monotonous city ever could. She felt alive, a stark contrast to the stagnation she had been drowning in. Her fingers tingled with the same sensation she often craved, the urge to write, to create. This new world was ripe with stories waiting to be told. Overwhelmed, She closed her eyes, the reality of her sudden transport settling in. Yet, beneath her surprise was a burgeoning sense of hope, a spark ignited within her dormant creativity, waiting to be unshackled. Facing the surreal landscape of this vibrant world, Mia felt an absurd mix of excitement and dread churn within her. She wandered down a sunlit path, trees whispering her presence like ancient guardians, nudging her forward. I've read about these worlds in stories, she thought. Yet living in one feels terrifying? As she trekked further, signs and symbols seemed to beckon her deeper into the heart of this place. She stumbled upon a clearing, where a well-worn bench sat, carved from a single piece of glowing wood. Mia hesitated. She gazed at this marvel, her mind racing. They want me to rewrite their destinies. She wondered aloud, her voice trembling. The words lingered as if waiting for answers. I can barely finish my own stories, she thought, doubt coiling around her resolve like a serpent. A rustle from the bushes startled her, but it was only a woodland creature, its eyes gleaming with reassurance, silently urging her on. But Mia struggled against the tide of uncertainty. Someone else could do this better. Someone more confident, more competent? She reached out, fingers brushing against the magical air, feeling both insignificant and crucial in the grand tapestry of this world. The thought of meddling with destinies, of having her words hold transformative power, was paralyzing. What if she made a mistake? What if her inexperience caused irreparable harm? Yet, despite her misgivings, an inner voice, soft yet insistent, began to argue otherwise. You've always wanted to make a difference through storytelling, and this could be your chance. Mia shook her head as if to dislodge these conflicting voices. She turned back toward the edges of the clearing, the path behind more comforting in its known simplicity. But the pull of the unknown, the call of adventure, was undeniable. It was a challenge against the smallness she felt in her ordinary life. Though the what-ifs continued their relentless assault, a nascent belief in her own capacity to shape something brilliant flickered stubbornly in the depths of her uncertainty. Mia sat alone on the glowing wooden bench in the forest clearing, sunk in contemplation. The sun, suspended at an eternal twilight, bathed the surroundings in a warm, golden glow, punctuated by the twinkling dance of fireflies. Lost in her thoughts, she hardly noticed the soft rustling approach of Ella. Dressed in robes that shimmered with every color of the rainbow, Ella appeared like something out of the fairy tales Mia used to devour as a child. Her presence exuded a gentle yet undeniable authority. Lost, dear. Ella's voice was like a tinkling bell, soothing and inviting. Startled, Mia looked up, immediately caught in the warmth of Ella's gaze. I suppose I am, Mia replied, her voice tinged with hesitance and the lingering doubt of her capabilities. Ella's eyes twinkled knowingly. She seated herself beside Mia, motioning to the forest. This place thrives on stories, Mia, she began. Yours, in particular, holds great potential, Mia sighed, her mind a swirling storm of apprehension. But how can I, when I struggle to even write a single chapter back home? Ella smiled, pulling out a small, ornate box. With a wave of her hand, it clicked open, revealing a quill, shimmering with an otherworldly light. It's not about perfection, dear one. It's about courage. The courage to start, to make mistakes, and to forge ahead regardless. Mia's gaze locked on the quill, mesmerized by its brilliance. What is it? A magical quill, Ella explained gently. It doesn't do the writing for you but brings your imagination to life. It transforms creativity into something tangible, touchable. Touching the quill, Mia felt an unfamiliar surge of energy, a blending of fear and an intoxicating thrill. "You're meant to be here, Mia," Ella assured. "To tell the stories only you can tell." Ella's presence was oddly comforting, her belief in Mia unwavering and infectious. Mia's doubts wavered under the weight of Ella's conviction. Could she truly be the storyteller this world needed her to be? "Can I really do this?" Mia asked, looking back at the forest path that led to unknown adventures. "Only if you allow yourself to try," Ella replied softly, standing and extending a hand to her. With a deep breath, Mia took the quill from the box, its weight surprisingly light in her hand. She felt an electrifying buzz creep up her arm, ending at her racing heart. As Mia grasped Ella's hand, a meaningful partnership formed between her newfound belief in herself and the supportive guidance of her magical mentor. Mia stood at the threshold of her new reality, the magical quill gripped firmly in her hand as she embarked on her mission to rewrite destinies. The landscape around her was ever-changing, shifting between familiar fairy tale realms that she had once read about and new, vivid lands that seemed born from her own imagination. Her heart pounded with adrenaline and newfound courage, echoes of Ella's encouragement resonating in her mind. "Only if you allow yourself to try," she reminded herself. She approached a medieval village, where thatched roofs crowned cobblestone cottages. Villagers paused in their daily routines, eyes widening at the sight of Mia with her quill poised, ready to reshape their narratives. The characters she encountered were familiar yet different. Cinderella, no longer resigned to servitude, glowed with the self-sufficiency Mia bestowed upon her. The three little pigs had banded together not just in defense, but in unity after Mia rewrote their tale to establish a community where strength came from collaboration. As each story unfolded, Mia's confidence grew, her words weaving into the lives of these characters a vitality and purpose beyond their original scripts. It was thrilling, yet somewhere in the vibrant tapestry a shadow lingered. Jamal Idol, an antagonist lurking within the fairy tale realm, watched from the periphery. His intentions were wrapped in the rumble of discontent over the changes Mia introduced. He observed her moves, scheming a way to leverage her talents for his own ends. In the guise of a helpful advisor, Jamal approached Mia. "Marvelous work, dear novelist," Jamal praised, his voice smooth as silk yet masking a cunning undertone. "Thank you," Mia replied, though she shivered slightly under his gaze, akin to a predator studying prey. "Have you considered staying past your mission? Using your gift indefinitely could bring great power," Jamal suggested, his words dripping with temptation. Mia shook her head, dismissing the unease creeping in. "I can't let my purpose be distorted," she said firmly, but Jamal's shadow flickered close behind, a constant reminder of the threat her talents invited. The forest beyond the village loomed ahead, dark and eerily silent, heralding an inevitable confrontation with Jamal. Yet Mia's resolve was solidifying like steel. As she prepared to step into the shadows where Jamal awaited, she steeled herself, clutching the quill like a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. With each step, she knew that this world, and the stories interwoven within it, depended on her courage and creativity to bring them into a brighter narrative. The forest was an ominous cathedral, its canopy dense enough to obscure the twilight that perpetually lingered outside. In the depths of its shadowy embrace, Mia faced Jamal Idol, the cunning antagonist who had woven himself into the narrative threads of this magical world. Jamal stood before her with a confident sneer. His attire, dark and tailored, reflected his manipulative nature, a contrast to the vibrancy of the world Mia sought to protect. "What is it you fear, Mia?" Jamal asked, his voice slithering through the air. "The stories you could create here, the power you could harness, why waste it on feeble characters when you could dominate the tales themselves?" His words were seductive, tugging at the ambitions Mia harbored deep within. But beneath his tempting offer lay deception, his intentions as dark as the forest around them. Mia's heart thudded painfully in her chest. Doubt clawed at her, but it was met with the fierce resistance of her burgeoning confidence. "You seek control," Mia replied, her voice rising despite the trembling she felt. "But stories, real stories, aren't about control, they're about hope, transformation, and truth," Jamal laughed, his amusement echoing against the trees. Hope, transformation. Such naive dreams. Join me, and I'll show you how to elevate your work beyond mere fantasies. She hesitated, then remembered Ella, and the unwavering faith she'd shown. She remembered the characters she'd empowered, the lives she'd enriched. The quill in her hand pulsed with energy, a reminder of the creative force she held. Taking a deep breath, Mia raised the quill, the tip aglow with the light of her determination. "It's time you met your match," she declared. Jamal's smirk faltered as Mia began to write, her hand moving with purpose and precision. Words flowed from the tip of the quill in luminous arcs, encircling Jamal with tendrils of shimmering narrative. As Mia wrote, Jamal's defiance cracked and splintered. The narrative threads she spun tightened around him, binding him with a destiny of his own choosing, a tale of humility and redemption rather than tyranny and deceit. The forest brightened, shadows retreating under the strength of Mia's prose. Jamal's form became less solid, his prestige and prowess dissipating as Mia overwrote his intent and redirected his path. "You've done it!" a voice exclaimed from the sidelines, one of the characters Mia had saved. Their cheers lifted her heart, dispelling the last remnants of fear. With Jamal confined to his new storyline, a luminescent calm settled over the forest. Mia exhaled deeply, the weight of the encounter lifting as she realized her victory. In the aftermath, Mia discovered the true power of her creativity, its ability to not only change fates but also to fortify her resolve against the manipulation of others. She emerged from the forest, knowing she'd secured not just her freedom, but a future of boundless storytelling. Back in her apartment, Mia stared at the blinking cursor on her laptop screen, the sounds of the city a quiet hum beyond the walls. The world she had traveled to felt like a distant dream, yet the lessons it had imprinted in her heart were indelible. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, a smile curling at the corners of her lips. The room felt different now, no longer a prison of self-doubt, but a sanctuary where inspiration could flourish. Mia thought about the magical quill and the vibrant realms she had explored, a warmth spreading through her chest. Confidence, once elusive, now flowed through her veins. She had seen the impact of her creativity, and embraced the belief that her words could indeed reshape worlds. With renewed resolve, her fingers finally danced across the keyboard, the rhythm of typing a symphony in harmony with her racing heartbeat. She poured herself into the tale, each chapter a reflection of her courage and imagination intertwined. Rich, new characters emerged under her fingertips, their destinies crafted with care and intention. In her mind, Mia could hear Ella's laughter, feel the gentle reassurance that had guided her through those enchanted days. The belief Ella bestowed lingered with her, a constant, encouraging whisper. Months passed, the manuscript growing into a tome that pulsed with life and the authenticity she'd once feared to unleash. The persistent weight of insecurity had lifted, replaced with a lightness that fueled her artistic journey. When she finally penned the last word, Mia knew her story was ready to face the world. With a contented sigh and a sense of fulfillment she'd never known before, she sent the manuscript off, beyond the safety of her apartment. As she watched the digital progress bar inch toward completion, her heart swelled with the knowledge that this was only the beginning. A few weeks later, she received the email titled, "We would like to publish your novel." Every emotion she'd known surged through her, tears brimming with a joy she had not dared to expect. The applause of success enveloped me as existence in the following months. Book signings, interviews, and the amazement of readers who found themselves reflected in her narrative, all unfolded like the pages of a novel she hadn't dared to dream would be hers. Standing at a podium, reading passages aloud to an audience, Mia understood the profound gift of her journey, the courage to tell her own story, unafraid of the shadows of doubt. Her smile radiated through the words she shared, a beacon for anyone who'd ever doubted their ability to create something meaningful. And so, the once aspiring novelist embraced her destiny, a storyteller in her own right, awakened to the infinite possibilities that lay within her words.